Today we are going to see a different pathway which is known as gluconeogenesis. So, what is the meaning of gluconeogenesis? Gluconeogenesis involves synthesis of glucose by reversal of glycolytic pathway. So this pathway is necessarily reversal of glycolysis so as to synthesize glucose. Now, why bacteria need to use this particular pathway which is known as gluconeogenesis? Sometimes bacteria grow on alternative sources of carbon other than sugars. So till now we have seen pathways where bacteria degraded either hexoses, pentoses or sugar derivatives such as phosphogluconate or sugars containing other more or less number of carbons such as 3 carbon sugar derivatives or 4 carbon sugar derivatives, 7 carbon sugar derivatives. All these can be degraded using pentose phosphate path. But if bacteria are not using carbohydrates, in nature, just now when we have seen revision of all the glucose metabolic pathway, we have seen that this degradation aerobically, if the bacteria degrade, it results into production of pyruvic acid. Aerobic bacteria can metabolize pyruvic acid using TCA cycle. Fungi, which are eukaryotic, also show aerobic metabolism and they can degrade sugars to produce organic acids as metabolic end product. So due to either action of fermentative bacteria, if you remember when I have shown you video on fate of pyruvic acid, I have discussed about fermentation. So apart from lactic acid fermentation, there are other types of fermentations such as mixed acid fermentation, which is shown by E. coli, or propionibacterium produces propionic acid. In addition to this, bacteria such as Enterobacter can produce combination of acids such as pyruvic acid, lactic acid, etc. So, organic acids such as malic acid, pyruvic acid, succinic acid, lactic acid, acetic acid can be produced as metabolic end product by many bacteria. So, these are acids which are generated fermentatively. They still retain hydrogens with them. So, they have potential and they can be used as nutrients. So when bacteria are growing in environment, in soil or in water, when easily utilizable sources of carbon such as carbohydrates are not there, under such conditions, if organic acids or glycerol or amino acids are available, so bacteria, they can use organic acids or they can use substrates like malate, pyruvate, succinate, lactate, acetate or other organic acids, glycerol, or they can even use amino acids. Proteins can be degraded to amino acids as carbon source. Now, when bacteria are using these alternative carbon sources, they need to synthesize glucose by reversal of glycolytic pathway. So, this particular mechanism or pathway is known as gluconeogenesis. I will discuss examples. The bacteria show metabolic diversity. So it is not that E. coli will always degrade sugars and only sugars will be available. In fact, when we grow E. coli in our laboratory, what is the medium which we use, students? We have cultivated E. coli at first year BSc level. Can you name the medium which we have used in laboratory? Yes, Gloria has answered nutrient agar. Yes, Gloria, very good. So we use either nutrient agar or urea agar. Do you remember what is the composition of nutrient agar? Yes, students?
Ma'am, peptone and I guess
Yes, peptone. What else is there? It has peptone, beef extract, and NaCl. Do you know what is peptone? Chemically, what is peptone? Can anyone answer this? Yes,
Amino acids.
Vishakha. Yes, Yash. Yes, you can answer, Yash. I can hear you.
Amino acids.
They are not actually amino acid. It is name is peptone because it is made up of peptides, and you must have studied when you we yes. Namrata, good answer. Proteins, yes. So peptone is actually a combination of proteins, degraded fragments of proteins, that is peptides, and amino acid. Now, why I am saying it is combination, because peptone is generated by action of enzyme pepsin on either animal proteins such as meat or vegetable proteins such as soybean meal, for example, can be used. So either animal or vegetable protein is digested by using enzyme or protease which is known as pepsin, and the digested material, which is cell, is dehydrated to form a powder, and this powder is peptone. So it necessarily contains soluble proteins, peptides, and amino acids. So basically, when we are cultivating bacteria in laboratory, bacteria are growing on amino acids as source of carbon. Now, what is the bacterial cell wall made up of? It is made up of peptidoglycan. So, it necessarily has a glucose component in it. Now, so as to synthesize all the cellular material, bacteria need to synthesize glucose, or in fact, the precursor of N-acetylglucosamine is fructose 6-phosphate. So they need to synthesize these sugars so as to synthesize all the cellular material. So when bacteria synthesize glucose by reversal of glycolytic pathway, it is called as gluconeogenesis. Let us see some examples. So soil bacterium Bacillus subtilis can grow on malate using gluconeogenesis. A symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacterium Synrhizobium meliloti, which can grow on C4 acids such as succinate, malate, and fumarate using gluconeogenesis. Gram-negative bacterium E. coli, when it is growing on substrates such as pyruvate, lactate, or proteins or amino acids as carbon source, can grow on these materials using gluconeogenesis. Pathogenic bacteria, when they are growing in our gut, for example, enterohemorrhagic E. coli, which grows in bovine gut, there the nutrients that are available are digested food or the material which they get in our tissues such as amino acids, glycerol, lactate. Okay, so these substances can be used by E. coli using gluconeogenesis. Another example of pathogenic bacterium is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So it has been seen that gluconeogenesis is a very important pathway for pathogenesis of such pathogenic bacteria. So bacteria which are growing in saprophytic manner in soil or water on sources other than sugar can show gluconeogenesis, or pathogenic bacteria which are growing on organic acids, amino acids, that is sources other than sugars, show presence of gluconeogenesis. So once we have seen occurrence and significance of gluconeogenesis, let us go ahead and see the reactions of gluconeogenesis. Now we have seen a glycolytic pathway. So I will just switch to that slide again.
So this is the glycolytic pathway. We have seen this pathway before. Now we have defined gluconeogenesis as reversal of glycolytic pathway such that pyruvate can be converted to glucose. If you observe the pathway, you can see that three reactions which are catalyzed by kinases, including the pyruvate kinase reaction, the phosphofructokinase reaction, and the hexokinase reaction, are irreversible in glycolytic pathway. All other reactions are reversible, so it is possible to generate glucose from pyruvate if these three reactions, that is, if pyruvate can be converted to phosphoenol pyruvate by some other enzyme. Similarly, if fructose 1,6 biphosphate can be converted to fructose 6-phosphate by alternative reaction and glucose 6-phosphate is converted to glucose, it is possible to generate glucose using pyruvate as the starting material. Let us see the details of reactions of gluconeogenesis. Just now we have seen that the pyruvate kinase, phosphofructokinase and hexokinase reactions in glycolytic pathway are irreversible under cellular conditions, and this is determined by the concentrations of various metabolites. All reactions of glycolytic pathway from phosphoenol pyruvate to fructose 1,6 biphosphate are reversible. So, if phosphoenol pyruvate is generated, then it is possible to reverse the glycolytic reactions so as to produce fructose 1,6 biphosphate. Phosphoenol pyruvate is produced from oxaloacetate by enzyme PEP carboxykinase. When the cell is actively growing on glucose, and in aerobic cells or in cells which show partially functional TCA also, oxaloacetate is available. Oxaloacetate will react with GTP in presence of magnesium ions under the action of enzyme PEP carboxykinase to give phosphoenol pyruvate plus GDP plus CO2. If you observe carefully, then you can see that this CH2 is converted to C double bond CH2. The carboxylate group is released as carbon dioxide and a phosphate is transferred from GTP onto this carbon so as to phosphorylate it, and phosphoenol pyruvic acid is synthesized. This reaction requires input of energy which is provided by hydrolysis of GTP, and phosphorylated high energy compound phosphoenol pyruvate is synthesized. Once phosphoenol pyruvate is synthesized, the next reaction is reversible. So, by reversal of glycolytic reaction, PEP can be converted to 2-phosphoglyceric acid by action of enzyme enolase. This involves addition of water molecule across this double bond. So, CH2 group receives hydroxyl group OH and this carbon receives H. Thus, 2-phosphoglyceric acid is synthesized. The reaction requires presence of magnesium ions. The phosphoglycerol mutase will then catalyze isomerization reaction. This converts 2-phosphoglyceric acid to 3-phosphoglyceric acid. The phosphate group is transferred from position 2 onto position 3 in this reaction, and 3-phosphoglyceric acid is synthesized. The phosphoglycerate kinase catalyzes reversible reaction and converts 3-phosphoglyceric acid to 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid. This involves synthesis of a high energy phosphate bond and thus requires hydrolysis of ATP. ATP is hydrolyzed to ADP and the phosphate is transferred onto 3-phosphoglyceric acid so as to synthesize 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid, and the reaction, because it is a kinase reaction, requires Mg+2. The 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid thus synthesized will be then acted upon by glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, and in this case it will catalyze reductive dephosphorylation. So NADH plus H plus acts as reactant here. It will transfer hydrogen onto 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid so as to synthesize glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So a phosphate is removed as inorganic phosphate here and a hydrogen will be transferred here so as to convert this to aldehyde group. One more hydrogen will be transferred onto the phosphate so as to release the inorganic phosphate. NAD plus is generated as the product along with glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate in this reaction. The isomerase, triose phosphate isomerizes glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to dihydroxyacetone phosphate. The reaction till this step, that is till synthesis of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, are repeated twice so as to synthesize 2 glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate molecules. One glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate molecule will be then converted by isomerase to dihydroxyacetone phosphate. The dihydroxyacetone phosphate formed due to action of triose phosphate isomerase reacts with glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate under the action of enzyme aldolase, which will catalyze aldol condensation so as to form 6-carbon sugar derivative fructose 1,6-biphosphate. A new carbon-carbon bond is formed here, so aldehyde group reacts here with this group and a new CC bond is formed so as to have phosphate at position 1 and position 6. The fructose 1,6-biphosphate is then acted upon by fructose 1,6-biphosphate phosphatase. This is the second bypass reaction which bypasses irreversible phosphofructokinase reaction of glycolytic pathway synthesizing fructose 6-phosphate. So the phosphate is removed as inorganic phosphate by the action of phosphatase enzyme and this is converted to CH2OH, thus synthesizing fructose 6-phosphate. The fructose 6-phosphate is then acted upon by phosphoglucoisomerase, the glycolytic enzyme which catalyzes isomerization reaction in opposite direction as compared to glycolysis so as to convert fructose 6-phosphate to glucose 6-phosphate. Fructose 6-phosphate is a ketose which is converted to aldose glucose 6-phosphate in this reaction. The third bypass reaction is then catalyzed by glucose 6-phosphatase to generate glucose. Glucose 6-phosphatase cleaves the phosphate group present at the 6th position in glucose molecule and releases it as inorganic phosphate. Thus, D-glucose is generated at the end of gluconeogenesis pathway. Let us see the overview of this pathway. Pyruvate can be converted to oxaloacetate by action of enzyme pyruvate carboxylase, which will use ATP, and pyruvate will be converted to oxaloacetate. This is one of the reactions which we have seen when we studied TCA cycle as amphibolic pathway. The reaction requires bicarbonate, so CO2 can be converted to bicarbonate. Pyruvate plus ATP plus bicarbonate will give oxaloacetate plus ADP. The oxaloacetate thus formed can be used by PEP carboxykinase enzyme. This enzyme requires GTP. GTP is converted to GDP and oxaloacetate is converted to PEP and carbon dioxide is released in this reaction. The phosphoenol pyruvate will be then converted to by reversal of glycolytic reactions to 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid. Two molecules of pyruvate have to follow this path till 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid and two molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will be synthesized. One molecule of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will be converted to dihydroxyacetone phosphate, and in the next reaction, which is catalyzed by aldolase, the dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate react to give fructose 1,6-biphosphate. This is the second bypass reaction catalyzed by fructose 1,6-biphosphate phosphatase, which removes phosphate from fructose 1,6-biphosphate so as to generate fructose 6-phosphate. The phosphohexoisomerase then converts fructose 6-phosphate to glucose 6-phosphate. The glucose 6-phosphate is acted upon by another phosphatase, removing inorganic phosphate at the 6th position and generates glucose in gluconeogenesis. The net reaction can be written down as 2 pyruvate plus 4 ATP plus 2 GTP plus 2 NADH plus 2 H plus 4 water molecules give 2 glucose plus 2 NAD plus 4 ADP plus 2 GDP plus 6 inorganic phosphates. Thank you.